Good evening and welcome to 25th edition of Regal Unlimited LinkedIn series. Today we have Kannan Swaminathan, a distinguished coach from Chennai. Kannan is a leadership and executive coach, mentor coach, and ICF PCC and EMCC Senior Practitioner. With a deep passion for coaching, and is also a president-elect for the Chennai ICF chapter. Welcome, Kannan, and we are glad to have you in the show today.
Thank you. Congratulations on this 25th episode, and thank you for having me here, PK.
Our pleasure. Thank you. See, we were discussing about coaching breakthroughs. So if you could just explain the brief journey, your journey in your own words, as well as what breakthrough in coaching actually how it manifests.
Yeah. So if I look back my journey as a coach, it started way back in 2012, 2013, when I first had a coach for myself in my corporate engagement. And a wonderful gentleman, and that's the first time I even experienced what the coaching is, and then that triggered an interest in knowing more about it. Then part of the coach training in 2014, and then it took another 2 years for me to really make up my mind to see what is it that I want to do in life, and then decided to jump into a full-time, more practicing coach and trainer kind of a solopreneurship in 2016. And after that, it has been a fantastic journey, I would say, in the way that I look at my profession. So in the sense, it is probably, it is fantastic because I have a lot of small coaching engagements throughout, and that gave me a very diverse insight into people from different geographies and different industries, and sometimes insights into different ways of people thinking about a particular situation and their abilities, and even in terms of some of the so-called cultural nuances. And I, in fact, had an privilege of working with one of the leader through an interpreter, because the person couldn't really has a hearing impact, and we needed to have somebody who can translate what I ask in a sign language, and that was more satisfying experience, I would say, right? And I do, in terms of the people that I have, I'm fortunate enough to have touched in some way or other in these 8 years are phenomenal, and I'm quite excited about the possibilities that lie ahead.
Interesting. So today, Kannan, you thought you suggested you would like to share something about our audience about breakthrough in coaching. So coaching is transformational, and there are many descriptions and adjectives that we use.
Yeah, no, I think are you back, PK?
Yeah.
Sure. Please go ahead. Your question was interrupted towards the second part of it, so
I'm sorry about that. So I was just asking, coaching outcomes are explained in multiple ways. And you mentioned about breakthroughs in coaching. So how would that manifest, and how would you like to explain breakthroughs in coaching?
yeah, a great question. So this is my own inference from the various people that I happen to work with in different types of challenges that they were facing. So, what do we really understand as a breakthrough, PK? The word breakthrough, when you hear it almost signifies some big innovation that has happened or some big, new way of working that has emerged,
Mm.
right? In terms of scientific research, when they say there is a breakthrough, then it's a finding of something new, which is significant, right? However, if you translate those kind of terms into a coaching process wherein you end up working with a client for enabling him to accomplish his goals,
Mm.
and you using and demonstrating the competencies and building all those good things about agreements and contracts and building trust and relationship and all of that, what is it that the clients usually are finding out in the coaching session? So I hear the word aha moments, I hear the word light bulb moments. All of those are, in my limited understanding, is a new awareness that the coach is able to bring it onto the table or enable the client to realize it in that particular moment. But it can be a small change, it can be a big change, but that is something that is different from the status quo. Yeah, something which is a wish list or something that they are trying to achieve. It can even be as simple things as a behavioral change that they would like to see in themselves. When they are
Mm.
able to see the possibility of incorporating that behavior change, so that is when that aha moment happens. Am I right? Is that the way you look at it, PK?
Yeah, true. When you explained in the earlier conversation about breakthrough, I was impressed because the client ultimately gets benefited only when he follows through the actions that he chooses
Absolutely.
and the outcome happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the process for the client actually starts at the end of a coaching session, if I may really put it that
True.
way, because
True.
he is attempting to really start making a change in himself, in the way he looks at the world, or in the way he carries himself, or in the way he solves the problem. It is just a beginning at that moment. Though people would have probably solved it in their mind in the coaching session, the proof of the pudding is outside the coaching session, when he goes and works with his system or works with his own experiments that he is trying to make. And that process of post coaching session, if you really look at it's nothing very different to that Kubler-Ross model of change, right?
Mm.
Eventually, everything is a change,
Mm.
right? Whether I'm trying to enhance my stakeholder relationship or I'm trying to build a better relationship with my kids, it is all a change, something that I have not done before. I've got now a great coach who enabled me to think whether that is possible or not, and I need to really go and do it, right?
Mm.
So that doing part is where I really see the benefit that the client can experience, which is a lot more sustainable, right? While as coaches, we bring in an accountability partner for the client during the session, and we focus on creating an action plan for the clients. There is he is alone. Whatever said and done after the session, he is alone,
Mm.
right? He need to have that continuous motivation to really start embracing that change. He will need to have that consistency that built in him, for him to really experiment and see whatever happens while he is making the changes. Not all the changes are going to be just instant, like, today, tomorrow you go and do something different, you see a better result and you stick with that, right? And there is also a possibility that there will be a slippage in terms of his commitment to stick to the actions that he said he would take, he may or may not be able to take. All of those are the real ingredients in making him successfully navigate that experience when he meets you for the next session, saying, hey, PK, I had this moment and I had this idea from our session, and I'm really glad it worked. Right? And like every other professions, I'm sure in your experience and my experience, how often does that take place?
I think in your experience, Kannan, how many times it has happened? If we were to talk about, out the total clients that we have been working with. So generally, in my case, you asked 8 out of 10, I would say.
Absolutely. So that is exactly what it is. But that the other two, does it mean that they are not really committed or they have not really tried? And sometimes, 8 out of 10 is a great number, and that signifies how effective have you been in implementing or influencing that change in the minds of your clients. But yeah, sometimes I get to see 60%, sometimes it's 70%, sometimes it is even less, sometimes it is more. But we all crave, the satisfaction for us as a coach is when the change really hits the reality, and you see clients actually gaining that significant value add from the intervention that we have provided. Right? So it is all about how do we support beyond the coaching session itself in terms of that journey of an elation of an excitement about an idea of a change, and then feeling the courage to experiment something in a small limited manner, and then evaluating the results and maybe even facing the failures at that point in time, and then getting back to perseverance or focusing it little bit more, right, and then making it really consistent so that the change really sticks for the client, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it could be an easy journey for many people. Sometimes it could be a very difficult journey for some people. It all depends on how the clients buy into that change holistically, right? So, as beyond the coaching session, if at all there is a possibility, depending on the contractual and other things that we have with our clients, if at all there is a possibility to support that client and join him in that journey of excitement and the experimentation, and as far as the handling of the setbacks that he may see or may not see in that moment, and being a cheerleader outside of the session can really bring in a significant value. So we as experienced coaches, we all have our own unique methodology of touching the lives of our clients outside the session. So if we bring in a lot more empathy and consistency in that beyond the session kind of check-ins, it can be many check-ins. What if somebody commits to walk 5 kilometers a day and he couldn't do it for the next 2 days, right? What would you do if you meet him after next month for the following session? Has he really been able to accomplish it or not? So it is about helping him to stick with the change that he is committed, both emotionally as well as so-called intellectually in that journey.
Beautiful.
Right? So is it about the process of coaching and competencies of coaching? Of course, that is all given. If you don't do it, you don't get to that even the first outcome there. But
Right.
is the job gets done with the client realizing what needs to be done, or is the job gets done when the client actually does it? If you really see, while I'm drawing a reference from a parallel field, right?
Mhm.
Like a medical professional, what's the biggest worry for all the doctors, or the frustration for all the doctors, if you really see? It's the patient's ability to comply with what the instructions are being, both in the medication, diet, and exercises, and all of it. So that is what is what we could probably try and influence it by going little beyond the coaching session. That's what I had in my mind. While some engagements, especially the more frequent limited time engagements, gives you the flexibility to do that. And I think eventually it is all about our outlook as coaches as to what is it that we want to do. If we want to make that difference to the client, and we want to go all out with that unconditional positive regard for that change to really happen, then we can.
Beautiful. That's very well said. The way the coaching sessions are in a way structured, so we have few sessions so that we have time to test it, taste it, tweak it as needed, and then work again. If it is not working, what else? So, the design itself is meant to create that breakthrough, I guess, Kannan. What do you think?
Absolutely. The call out that I would like to make at this stage is, especially for the coaches who are getting into the practice, is that your service to the client is not just holding the session. Right? In our busy schedule, these are our unique signature methodologies that we adopt. I'm sure, you know, in your experience, you would have devised your own methodologies to make this change happen. But in my own way, I would be touching the client's lives in some way. But the worry is especially when the coaching gets little more commoditized, more coaches handling more clients, it becomes a task, right? While from a competency part of it, and the structure and gold standard part of it, we may be doing exactly that. But this requires a little bit of coach's own efforts, conscious effort to partner with the client beyond the session to make the change stick.
Yeah, that is beautifully said. Actually, when we are a professional and running a business of coaching, it's extremely important that we run that extra mile and make sure that we do more than what actually the call of duty demands. Because those are those small extra things that means a lot to the client. At times, it could even be for him or her the difference between achieving it or not. And as a coach, we can play a very important role. Thanks for highlighting that. The role of a coach beyond the session, the 40 minutes, 60 minutes, or whatever minutes.
Whatever the time, whatever is the duration, and there are, believe me, there are the trust and relationship and the impact that you create within that contractual period of 3 months or 6 months that you work. I'm sure you have examples. I have examples. It can turn into lifelong relationships. And that all emanates from the impact that the client is actually seeing, not just thinking and realizing, but is actually able to see it.
Absolutely. So from an awareness to action to outcomes.
Absolutely.
And just to get a clearer understanding for our audience today, Kannan, if you could just, we have less than a couple of minutes to go. Time has just flown. Any examples or one case or one thing that recently that you have in your mind to establish how this has helped people achieve breakthrough?
Okay, so let me talk to you about an example that happened, I think, sometime last year when I was coaching a leader in one of those Asian countries where he's been a very successful professional and very intelligent when it comes to his work and other things, but he always had a big change that he wanted to see in his life, which is about the relationship with his son.
Mhm.
Right. So it goes beyond the conversations that we had because it's an organizational sponsor. So there was a set goals and we were doing it. But he genuinely came up with this, how do I really improve the relationship? How do I really make the change in the way my son sees me? Right. And that required a different type of conversation, and then we agreed to connect for a short 10 minutes over the following, I would say, about 3-4 fortnights in
Okay.
terms of momentarily what happens.
Mhm.
Right. He would commit, okay, he will go and do try this, and he will go and spend this quality time, or he will do this listening and all of good things. But he will often come back saying, no, I was tired, I didn't really bother. Then next check in, what did you do about it? Yeah, I felt bad in telling you that I couldn't do it, so I had to really take that extra 30 minutes in my calendar to sit and have that conversation. And over that period, I think within about 3 fortnights, he had a wonderfully better relationship with his son, which he wanted to build.
Wow. That sounds great, Kannan.
Thank you.
I think coaches,
That's
as
one small
coaches,
example. It's about we being very
yeah,
creative and bring it bring our whole selves into that equation and help the client to see the impact.
can't agree more. I think it is absolutely that. As coaches, we are blessed, we are privileged, and we are in a position to have multiple possibilities that probably the discretion is with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is
So
exactly why I thought this could be a useful topic for somebody who's just setting up the coaching journey.
absolutely. Thank you very much, Kannan. And we are slightly over time today, but we really enjoyed the conversation. And thank you, Kannan, for sharing your
Thank you.
experience and
Thank
insights.
you.
And
Thank you
we will
very much.
catch up again on LinkedIn, Regal Unlimited LinkedIn next week, same time. Until then, bye.
Thank you.